Commander Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Horizon, watching the stars through the wide viewport. His ship looked like an old cargo hauler, with its boxy shape and dull gray hull. Most alien captains would laugh at its appearance. They didn't know what secrets it held. "Sir, the Zarnex delegation is arriving," said Lieutenant Danny Clark from his station. Jake nodded. "Let's give them the usual show." The Zarnex shuttle approached, sleek and shiny like most alien ships. It was painted in bright colors that showed off their wealth and power. Next to it, the Horizon looked like a rusty transport ship that should have been scrapped years ago. Ambassador Karen Price waited in the docking bay. She wore a simple gray uniform that matched the ship's plain appearance. The Zarnex loved fancy clothes and jewelry, so they would probably look down on her too. That was exactly what Earth wanted. The airlock opened with a hiss. 3 tall aliens stepped through. They had blue skin and forearms, wearing robes covered in precious gems. Their leader, Ambassador Crix, looked around the bay with obvious disappointment. "This is your diplomatic vessel?" Crix asked, his voice dripping with contempt. "It looks like a garbage scow." Karen smiled politely. "Welcome aboard the Horizon, Ambassador. We prefer practical designs over flashy ones." "Clearly," Crix muttered. His companions whispered to each other, pointing at the scratched walls and old-looking equipment. Jake watched from a hidden camera as Karen led the aliens through the ship. Every corridor looked worn and basic. The lights flickered sometimes, and there were patches on the walls that seemed hastily repaired. It was all fake, of course, but the aliens didn't know that. In the mess hall, the Zarnex delegation sat at simple metal tables. They picked at the food with disgust, used to fancy meals on crystal plates. One of them spoke loudly in their own language, not knowing that Jake understood every word. "These humans are pathetic," the alien said. "Look at this ship. They can barely keep it running. No wonder they've never won a real battle." Jake smiled to himself. The Zarnex, like most aliens, judged everything by appearance. They built beautiful ships with gleaming hulls and obvious weapons. They wanted everyone to see how powerful they were. Humans had learned different lessons from their history. They remembered the Q ships from their world wars, merchant vessels with hidden weapons that hunted submarines. They remembered how appearing weak could be the greatest strength. "Commander," Danny called softly. "We're picking up unusual signals. 3 ships at the edge of sensor range." Jake checked his hidden display. Pirates, most likely. They often followed diplomatic ships, hoping to catch them after meetings when their guards were down. "Keep monitoring," Jake ordered. "Don't change anything. Let them think we're exactly what we appear to be." The tour continued. Karen showed the aliens their outdated engine room, where Chief Engineer Betty Young pretended to struggle with basic repairs. She had grease on her face and acted frustrated with the old equipment. "Your technology is primitive," Ambassador Crix declared. "The Galactic Council wastes time including humans in these meetings. You contribute nothing." "We do our best with what we have," Karen replied humbly. The aliens laughed. They didn't notice the tiny cameras recording everything. They didn't see the hidden panels in the walls or the false bottoms in the cargo holds. They had no idea that Betty could bring the ship's true engines online in seconds, or that the flickering lights hid powerful shield generators. As the meeting ended, the Zarnex delegation prepared to leave. They shook their heads at the sad state of human technology. Ambassador Crix even offered to sell them some real warships, speaking slowly as if to children. "Thank you for the offer," Karen said. "We'll consider it." After the aliens left, Jake gathered his bridge crew. "Status report on those ships?" "Still lurking, sir," Danny replied. "They're trying to look like merchant traffic, but their energy signatures don't match." Jake nodded. Soon, someone would learn why Earth's ships looked the way they did. But not today. Today they would continue the act, letting the galaxy believe humans were weak and poor. Sometimes the best weapon was patience. Captain Scott Baker sat in his ready room aboard the USS Orion, studying the trade routes on his display. His ship traveled with 2 others, the USS Neptune and USS Jupiter. To any observer, they looked like old freighters hauling goods between colonies. "Captain, we're approaching the Kalari checkpoint," his first officer, Helen Turner, reported over the comm. "Standard procedure," Scott replied. "Look nervous about the inspection. Let them feel superior." The Kalari were known for their strict control of trade routes. Their sleek patrol ships surrounded the human vessels, scanning every inch. Scott watched as the alien commander appeared on his view screen. "Human vessels, prepare for inspection," the Kalari officer demanded. His scales glinted green under the bridge lights. "Of course, Commander," Scott answered, adding a slight tremor to his voice. "We're just carrying agricultural supplies to the Beta Z colony." The Kalari boarding party arrived within minutes. They strutted through the corridors, poking at panels, and checking manifests. Engineering Chief Lisa Thompson met them in the cargo bay, playing her part perfectly. "Please be careful," she begged as they roughly opened containers. "That equipment is very delicate." The Kalari laughed. "This junk? We have better machines in our waste disposal units." Lisa bit her lip and looked down, hiding her smile. The delicate equipment was actually dummy cargo. The real systems were hidden behind false walls that the Kalari scanners couldn't penetrate. On the bridge of the Neptune, Captain Maria Santos watched the same scene play out. Her crew acted just nervous enough to be believable. Too calm would raise suspicion. Too scared would invite bullying. "Your ships are pathetic," one Kalari sneered at her helmsman, Joey Martinez. "How do you even navigate with such primitive computers?" Joey shrugged helplessly. "We manage somehow, sir." The truth was, their navigation systems were more advanced than anything the Kalari had. But the displays showed simplified readouts and the controls looked basic. Everything was designed to hide their real capabilities. Meanwhile, on the Jupiter, Captain Bill Harrison dealt with his own inspection team. His ship carried the most sensitive equipment of all, prototype weapons that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. "What's behind this panel?" a Kalari demanded, tapping on a wall. "Just maintenance access," Bill replied casually. "Plumbing and electrical. Nothing interesting." The alien scanned it and moved on, satisfied. He didn't know that the panel led to a hidden weapons bay containing plasma cannons that could punch through a battleship's shields. Back on the Orion, Scott received a coded message from Earth Command. Pirates had been spotted in 3 sectors all along major trade routes. Intelligence suggested they were working together, possibly planning something big. "The Kalari won't protect us," Helen whispered when she read the report. "They think we're not worth the effort." "Exactly what we want them to think," Scott replied. The inspections finally ended. The Kalari ships pulled away, their crews still laughing about the primitive human vessels. Scott opened a secure channel to the other captains. "Phase 2 is approved," he said simply. On all 3 ships, the real work began. Crews moved to their actual battle stations hidden behind false walls. Weapon systems powered up silently. Shield generators hummed to life, though their energy signatures were masked to look like failing life support systems. Lisa Thompson's team removed coverings from the true engine controls. The outdated-looking panels slid away to reveal state-of-the-art displays. The supposedly struggling power plant could actually outrun most warships in the galaxy. "All systems nominal," Lisa reported with satisfaction. "We can drop the act any time." "Not yet," Scott replied. "We need to reach the right position first." The 3 ships continued their journey, maintaining perfect formation while appearing to struggle along. They passed other alien vessels, traders, patrol ships, even a few warships. Everyone ignored them or looked at them with pity. Nobody suspected that these 3 cargo ships carried enough firepower to take on a small fleet. Nobody guessed that their crews were elite military personnel, not simple merchants. The deception was perfect. As they approached the Nexus junction where 5 trade routes met, Scott smiled. Soon, very soon, someone would learn the truth about Earth's merchant fleet. And when they did, the entire galaxy would never look at human ships the same way again. The Draxian pirate fleet moved like shadows through the Omega sector. 15 ships, all armed to the teeth, surrounded 3 human vessels that looked like they were held together with tape and hope. Warlord Zethos stood on his bridge, his 4 eyes gleaming with greed. "Easy prey," he growled to his second in command. "These humans are fools to travel without protection." Captain Matt Harris of the USS Pioneer watched the pirates approach on his hidden tactical display. His ship, and two others, the USS Valor and USS Defender, had been waiting for this moment. They had leaked false cargo manifests about valuable minerals, knowing the pirates would take the bait. "Captain, they're hailing us," said Lieutenant Emma Ross from Communications. "Put them through. Everyone, remember your roles." Zethos appeared, on screen, his razor-sharp teeth visible in a cruel smile. "Human vessels, surrender your cargo and we might let you live." Matt put on his best frightened expression. "Please, we're just simple traders. We don't want any trouble." The pirate laughed. "Then don't resist. Prepare to be boarded." 3 pirate ships moved closer, their boarding tubes extending like metal snakes. Matt nodded to his security chief, Lieutenant Samantha Cole, who waited in the corridor with her team. They wore civilian clothes over their combat armor. The first pirates crashed through the airlock, waving energy weapons and shouting threats. They expected cowering merchants. Instead, the corridor lights suddenly went out, replaced by red emergency lighting. "What's happening?" one pirate yelled. Thick blast doors slammed shut, trapping them in sections. Hidden panels opened in the walls, revealing automated stun turrets. The pirates didn't even have time to scream before they dropped to the floor. The bridge, Matt watched as similar scenes played out on the other ships. "Now," he ordered. The USS Pioneer's transformation began. External panels slid away, revealing rows of missile tubes. What looked like communication arrays unfolded into targeting systems. The cargo bay doors opened to deploy fighter drones. "Warlord." Zethos watched in shock as the 3 helpless merchant ships changed before his eyes. "What is this?" he roared. "This is what humans call a trap," Matt replied, dropping his scared act. The Valor and Defender underwent the same transformation. Within seconds, 3 fully armed warships faced the pirate fleet. The pirates had better numbers, but they were scattered and surprised. "All ships fire at will," Matt commanded. The space between the fleets lit up with energy beams and missiles. The pirates fought back desperately, but their shots bounced off shields that shouldn't exist on cargo ships. Human weapons hidden moments ago tore through pirate hulls like paper. Inside the Pioneer, Samantha's security teams moved through the ship, capturing the remaining boarders. The pirates couldn't understand how corridors changed configuration, how walls moved to create kill zones, how the helpless crew fought like trained soldiers. "Because we are soldiers," Samantha told one captured pirate. This was never a merchant ship. The battle lasted only minutes. 8 pirate ships were destroyed, 5 surrendered, and 2 fled. Warlord Zethos's flagship took heavy damage before he called for surrender. "Impossible," he gasped as human Marines boarded his bridge. "We scanned you. We saw cargo ships." Captain Harris arrived personally to accept the surrender. "You saw what we wanted you to see. Earth learned long ago that the best weapon is surprise." News of the battle spread quickly through pirate networks. 3 human merchant ships had destroyed a fleet 5 times their size. Pirates began to question every human vessel they saw. Was it really carrying grain, or was it hiding enough weapons to level a city? The captured pirates were taken to a human base for processing. There they saw dozens of ships that looked like freighters, tankers, and mining vessels. Now they wondered which ones were actually warships. "All of them," Matt told Zethos during interrogation. "Or none of them. That's the point. You'll never know until it's too late." The Draxian pirate organization never recovered from that day. Other pirate groups started avoiding human ships altogether. The risk was too great. Any rusty old transport might secretly be a state-of-the-art warship. Earth's merchant marine could finally trade in peace, protected by their reputation as much as their hidden weapons. The galaxy was learning that humans had mastered the art of deception in warfare. The distress call came from Telvanni Prime, a peaceful colony world under attack by the Krogan Dominion. Commander John Davis received it aboard the USS Atlas, which was supposedly delivering medical supplies to a nearby system. "Commander, the Telvanni are begging for help," reported Lieutenant Patricia Wong. "The Krogan fleet is bombing their cities." John studied the tactical display. 12 Krogan warships surrounded the planet, their sleek hulls bristling with obvious weapons. They were everything a warship should look like: intimidating, powerful, and deadly. "Set course for Telvanni Prime," John ordered. "Maximum speed." "Sir, we're just one ship," Patricia said carefully. "Against 12, John smiled. "They think we're just one cargo ship. Let's show them different." The Atlas dropped out of hyperspace near Telvanni Prime. The Krogan ships immediately noticed the lone human vessel. Their commander, Admiral Vorax, appeared on screen laughing. "A human freighter? Have you come to deliver supplies to the dead?" Vorax mocked. "Turn back now, or become debris." "We're responding to a distress call," John replied calmly. "Stop your attack on the colony." The Krogan bridge crew burst into laughter. Vorax wiped tears from his reptilian eyes. "You dare give orders? In that flying scrap heap?" "Last warning," John said. "Destroy it," Vorax ordered casually. "Use it for target practice." 2 Krogan destroyers turned toward the Atlas, charging their weapons. On the human bridge, the crew prepared for battle. They had trained for this moment countless times. "Commander," said Weapons Officer Kevin Lee, "all systems ready. Execute transformation sequence. Show them what we really are." The Atlas began to change. Panels slid open across its hull. Hidden weapon ports emerged. The blocky cargo sections split apart, revealing massive railguns. Shield generators powered up, creating a shimmer around the ship. The Krogan stopped laughing. They watched in disbelief as the harmless freighter became a battleship before their eyes. The Atlas was larger than any of their ships, with weapons they had never seen before. "What trickery is this?" Vorax demanded. "No trick," John replied. "Just human engineering. Fire." The Atlas's main guns spoke first. Kinetic rounds traveling at incredible speed punched through the first destroyers. Shields like they weren't there. The ship split in half and exploded. Missiles launched from what had looked like cargo containers. They curved through space, each finding a different target. Point defense lasers, hidden in sensor arrays, shot down incoming fire. The second destroyer tried to retreat but flew straight into a spread of plasma torpedoes. Its hull melted like wax under a flame. The remaining Krogan ships scrambled to respond, but they were too close together, positioned for bombing runs rather than ship-to-ship combat. "Launch fighters," John ordered. Bay doors opened where the Atlas's engine housing had been. 2 squadrons of fighters emerged, small but deadly. They swarmed the Krogan formation, targeting weapons and engines. The battle became chaos. The Krogan had superior numbers but couldn't coordinate. They had expected an easy victory over a defenseless colony. Instead, they faced a ship that outgunned their entire fleet. 3 more Krogan ships fell in the next 5 minutes. "Admiral," Vorax ordered a retreat, but the Atlas had positioned itself to block their escape route. The human ship seemed to be everywhere at once, its weapons firing in all directions. "Please, we surrender," Vorax finally screamed as his flagship took critical damage. "Power down all weapons and shields," John demanded. "Any ship that doesn't comply will be destroyed." One by one, the surviving Krogan ships went dark. The battle was over. A single human cargo ship had defeated an entire invasion fleet. On Telvanni Prime, the colonists watched in awe. They had called for help expecting nothing, and received a miracle. The governor contacted the Atlas, his voice shaking with emotion. "How can we ever thank you?" he asked. "Spread the word," John replied. "Let everyone know that human ships are not what they appear. We protect our friends." The news traveled fast. Military analysts across the galaxy studied recordings of the battle. They couldn't understand how they had missed the signs. How many other human ships were secretly warships? How had Earth hidden this capability? The age of underestimating humans was ending. The galaxy would never look at their ships the same way again. Admiral Rebecca Turner stood before the Galactic Council, facing representatives from 50 different species. The Grand Chamber buzzed with whispers about recent events. Everyone wanted to know how human cargo ships kept defeating warships. "Admiral Turner," the council speaker began, his tentacles waving with agitation, Explain these deceptions. Your ships pretend to be merchants while hiding military power. This violates trust between species. Rebecca smiled calmly. With respect, Speaker, we've violated no laws. Our ships are registered correctly. We simply choose not to advertise their capabilities. But why? Demanded the Zarnek's ambassador. Why make your warships look like freighters? Let me tell you about Earth's history, Rebecca said. She activated a holographic display showing old photographs. During our world wars, we created Q-ships, merchant vessels with hidden weapons. They looked helpless to draw in enemy submarines, the Tai. Image changed to show a rusty cargo ship suddenly revealing deck guns. The enemy would surface to attack what they thought was easy prey. Then our ship would drop its disguise and strike. It was devastatingly effective. That was primitive warfare, scoffed a Krogan representative. The principle remains sound, Rebecca replied. Why advertise your strength when deception serves you better? Every species here builds ships to look powerful. You want enemies to fear you at first sight. She gestured around the chamber. Look. At your own warships, spikes, armor, visible weapons, you're like animals puffing up to look bigger. But humans learned that sometimes appearing weak is the greatest strength. You've been lying to us all, accused the Kalari delegate. Have we? Rebecca asked. We never claimed our ships were defenseless. You all assumed it because they didn't match your idea of warships. Your own prejudices blinded you. She nodded to Lieutenant Frank Williams, who wheeled in a cart with a model ship. This is a standard human vessel design. Frank, please demonstrate. Frank pressed hidden buttons on the model. Panels opened, weapons emerged. The blocky shape transformed into something sleek and deadly. The council members leaned forward, fascinated despite themselves. Every part serves dual purposes, Frank explained. Cargo holds become fighter bays. Sensor arrays hide weapons. Even our hull plating has special properties you can't detect with standard scans. The engineering is remarkable, admitted a Telvanni scientist. But how do you maintain the deception? Training and discipline, Rebecca answered. Our crews practice their merchant roles constantly. They know how to act scared, how to make systems look older than they are, how to hide our true capabilities. The speaker's tentacles stilled. You've been testing us, learning our weaknesses while we dismissed you as harmless. We've been protecting ourselves, Rebecca corrected. Earth is still young in galactic terms. We couldn't match your fleet's ship for ship, so we found another way. And now? Asked the Zarnek's ambassador. Now that we know your secret? Rebecca's smile widened. Now, you have a problem. Every human ship you see might be a warship, or it might really be carrying grain. You'll never know until it's too late to matter. The council chamber erupted in argument. Some called for sanctions against Earth. Others admired the strategy. A few wondered if their own fleets should adopt similar designs. We'll share this technology with our allies, Rebecca announced, silencing the room. Those who have proven themselves friends to humanity can learn our methods. The rest of you, she shrugged. The rest of you can keep guessing. After the meeting, several ambassadors approached Rebecca privately. They wanted to discuss defense partnerships. The Telvanni, who Earth had recently saved, were especially eager. Your approach changes everything, the Telvanni ambassador said. Wars might become less common if no one can be sure of their enemy's true strength. Rebecca nodded. That's the idea. Peace through uncertainty. When you can't tell predator from prey, maybe you think twice before attacking. As she left the council chamber, Rebecca knew the galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had rewritten the rules of space warfare, and everyone else would have to adapt. The Zarathi Empire had spent years planning their invasion of human space. Their spies had counted every human ship, mapped every trade route, and calculated Earth's defenses. Their reports all said the same thing. Humans had mostly merchant vessels and a few outdated warships. Emperor Zorn stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching his massive fleet prepare to jump. 300 warships, each bristling with weapons, ready to crush the weak humans and take their resource-rich worlds. The humans won't know what hit them, Zorn declared. Begin the invasion. The Zarathi fleet jumped into the Sol system, emerging, near Mars. They expected to find scattered merchant traffic and maybe a few patrol ships. Instead, they found hundreds of human vessels already in formation. Commander Amy Roberts coordinated the defense from the USS Washington. She had been waiting for this moment. Earth's intelligence network had detected the Zarathi preparations months ago. All ships, execute Revelation Protocol, Amy ordered. Across the system, every human vessel began to transform. Cargo ships split, open to reveal battle cannons. Tankers deployed fighter wings. Mining vessels activated massive shield generators. Even small courier ships showed hidden missile pods. Emperor Zorn watched in horror as his tactical display updated. The merchant fleet he planned to sweep aside was actually the largest military force he had ever seen. "This is impossible," he roared. "Our intelligence said they were defenseless." "Your intelligence saw what we wanted it to see." Amy's voice came through the comm. "This is your only warning. Leave now or be destroyed." Zorn's pride wouldn't let him retreat. "All ships attack, they're still outnumbered." The space around Mars erupted in violence. The Zarathi had numbers, but the humans had preparation and position. Every asteroid, every orbital platform, every moon base joined the battle. The USS Texas, disguised as a grain hauler until moments ago, led the first assault wave. Its spinal railgun, hidden in what looked like a cargo spine, fired rounds that pierced through 3 Zarathi cruisers in a line. Mining ships released swarms of combat drones. The tiny machines had been hidden in ore containers, dormant until needed. They overwhelmed Zarathi point defenses through sheer numbers. "Focus fire on their command ships," Zorn ordered. But his targeting systems couldn't lock on properly. The human vessels kept changing their emissions, appearing and disappearing from sensors. Lieutenant Paul Chen commanded a squadron of mail carriers, small, fast ships that looked too insignificant to matter. Now they darted through the battle, launching fusion torpedoes at close range before vanishing again. The Zarathi fought hard, but they were facing an enemy they didn't understand. Every human ship seemed to have capabilities that defied their intelligence reports. Weapons appeared, from impossible places. Shields held against attacks that should have shattered them. "Emperor, we've lost half our fleet," his tactical officer reported. "Their firepower exceeds all predictions." In desperation, Zorn ordered his remaining ships to concentrate fire on the USS Washington. Hundreds of energy beams converged on Amy's command ship. The Washington's true defenses activated. Layers of shielding, each using different technologies, absorbed the assault. Then the ship's main weapon, hidden in its communications array, returned fire. A beam of pure energy struck Zorn's flagship. The Zarathi vessel's shields collapsed instantly. Secondary explosions rippled through its hull. "Abandon ship!" Zorn screamed as his bridge lost atmosphere. The battle lasted 3 hours. When it ended, the Zarathi invasion force was gone. Some ships were destroyed, others captured, and the few survivors fled back to their empire with tales of horror. Amy surveyed the aftermath from her bridge. Earth had won decisively, losing only a dozen ships while destroying an entire invasion fleet. "Send a message to all human vessels," she ordered. "Well done. Return to standard configurations. Let's look like merchants again." As the human ships reverted to their harmless appearances, Amy knew this victory would echo across the galaxy. The Zarathi Empire would never recover from such a defeat, and every other species would think very carefully before threatening Earth again. The age of human deception had reached its peak. No one would ever look at a human cargo ship the same way again. News of the Zarathi defeat spread faster than light through the galaxy. Every species watched the battle recordings, studying how a merchant fleet had destroyed 300 warships. The impossible had happened, and everyone wanted to understand how Captain Tom Jackson docked his ship, the USS Mercury, at the Andari trading station. 2 months ago, alien merchants would have ignored his arrival. Now every eye followed his cargo vessel with nervous respect. Captain Jackson, the station master, greeted him personally, bowing low. "Welcome to our humble station. How may we serve you today?" Tom hid his smile. "Just here to trade, as usual. We have medical supplies for the Andari colonies. Of course, the alien nodded quickly. Please use our best docking facilities, no fees for human vessels. As Tom walked through the station, conversation stopped. Traders who once mocked humans now stepped aside. Even the security forces kept their distance, unsure if this simple merchant captain might secretly command a battleship. Pirates had vanished from human trade routes. After the Draxian incident, no one dared attack Earth ships. Insurance rates for human cargo dropped to almost nothing. Who needed protection when fear itself guarded your vessels? In the Galactic Council, debates raged daily. The Valorian ambassador demanded regulations on ship disguises. This deception undermines trust between species, he argued. The human representative, Diana Walsh, responded calmly. There's no law requiring ships to look military. Your assumptions are not our responsibility. Some species began copying Earth's strategy. The Telvanni launched their first disguised warship, though their version was crude compared to human designs. The Kalari tried painting their battleships to look like freighters, missing the point entirely. They don't understand, Admiral Rebecca Turner told her staff. It's not about paint or false cargo holds. Our entire military doctrine supports the deception. Our crews trained for years to maintain the illusion. The economic impact was enormous. Human shipping companies dominated trade routes. Clients paid premium prices for the security of Earth's vessels. After all, who knew which ones might suddenly reveal hidden weapons? Military academies across the galaxy rewrote their textbooks. The Zarathi defeat became a case study in the dangers of underestimating opponents. Young officers learned to question everything they saw. Never judge a human ship by its hull became a common saying in a dozen languages. Parents used it to teach children about hasty assumptions. Politicians quoted it in speeches about diplomacy. The psychological effect was perhaps the greatest. Change. Species that once bullied humans now treated them with exaggerated courtesy. Border patrols waved Earth's ships through without inspection. Space stations offered premium services at discount prices. Captain Sarah Miller experienced this firsthand when her genuinely civilian transport needed repairs at a Krogan shipyard. The mechanics worked around the clock, terrified they might offend a secret warship commander. But I really am just hauling grain, she tried to explain. The Krogan supervisor winked knowingly. Of course you are, Captain. We understand completely. He then doubled his repair crews. Some humans found the new respect amusing. Others worried about the long-term consequences. Peace through fear wasn't the same as peace through friendship. We've become the monsters under the bed, one human diplomat noted. Everyone's afraid of what we might be hiding. Earth's leadership decided to use this reputation wisely. They offered protection to smaller species, accepting trade agreements instead of military alliances. Planets that couldn't afford their own fleets could shelter under humanity's invisible umbrella. The galaxy had entered a new era. Old empires that relied on obvious displays of power found themselves outmaneuvered by Earth's subtle approach. Warfare itself was changing, with deception becoming as important as firepower. As Tom Jackson prepared to leave the Andari station, the station master approached again. Captain, we hope you'll return soon. Our station is always open to human merchants. Tom nodded professionally. We appreciate your hospitality. Flying away, he checked his real orders. His next stop was a troubled sector where pirates still operated. They were about to learn why human space remained safe while others suffered. The galaxy had indeed learned why Earth's warships looked like cargo vessels. Now they lived with the consequences of that knowledge. 5 years had passed since the Zarathi invasion. The galaxy had changed forever, and Earth stood at the center of a new order. Admiral Susan Clark oversaw the graduation ceremony at the Galactic Naval Academy, where students from 20 species learned human tactics. Remember, she told the graduates, strength through subtlety isn't just about hiding weapons. It's about understanding that what others don't know can't hurt you, but it can certainly hurt them. The academy taught more than ship design. Students learned psychology, acting, and misdirection. They studied Earth's history of deception in warfare, from wooden horses to fake armies made of balloons. Young officers practiced maintaining cover stories under pressure. Engineers learned to build ships with hidden capabilities. Even cooks trained to prepare meals that looked basic while hiding advanced nutrition. The human approach had spread beyond military applications. Diplomatic vessels carried hidden conference rooms. Research ships concealed advanced laboratories. Even hospital ships had secret facilities for classified patients. "We've created a galaxy of secrets," Susan mused to her aide, Lieutenant Alex Cooper. "Everyone's hiding something now." "Better than the old way," Alex replied. "When everyone showed their weapons, wars started over nothing. Now they think twice." The economic benefits continued to grow. Earth's shipping companies had expanded into an interstellar corporation. The human merchant marine controlled 40% of galactic trade, all protected by their fearsome reputation. Pirates had become nearly extinct. The few remaining groups operated far from human space, preying on species too proud to adopt Earth's methods. Even they fled at the first sign of a human transponder signal. Other species had achieved mixed results copying Earth's strategy. The Telvanni fleet now included convincing merchant disguises. The Andari had redesigned their ships from scratch. But most aliens struggled with the cultural shift required. "It's not just engineering," Susan explained to visiting admirals. "Your entire society must embrace the concept. Soldiers must think like traders. Commanders must act like clerks. Pride must give way to practicality." The Krogan had refused to participate, calling it dishonorable. Their empire continued to shrink as hidden human ships enforced peace agreements they couldn't counter. Traditional warfare had become obsolete. Some philosophers worried about the moral implications. Had humanity made the galaxy more peaceful by making everyone paranoid? Were they better off when enemies could measure each other's strength openly? "Peace is peace," Susan argued. "If fear keeps weapons silent, that's better than honor starting wars." The final test came when the shadows appeared, an unknown species from beyond the galactic rim. Their biomechanical ships attacked frontier colonies without warning. Traditional fleets failed to stop them. Humanity responded by revealing their ultimate secret. The generation ship Terra Nova, thought to be carrying colonists to a distant world, transformed into the largest warship ever built. It had been hiding in plain sight for decades. The battle against the shadows lasted 3 days. The Terra Nova's true capabilities shocked even Earth's allies. When it was over, the invaders retreated to unknown space, and the galaxy had a new protector. "We didn't build this to conquer," Susan announced to the Galactic Council. "We built it to ensure peace. Let this be the final lesson. Earth's greatest weapons are the ones you never see coming." A new era of cooperation began. Species that once competed now worked together, sharing technology and knowledge. The threat of hidden human power kept aggressive empires in check while encouraging diplomatic solutions. Cargo ships still traveled the space lanes, looking old and worn. Some carried grain and medicine. Others hid enough firepower to devastate planets. The galaxy had learned to live with not knowing which was which. Children across 100 worlds grew up with a new understanding of power. They learned that the mightiest warrior might dress as a farmer, that the greatest strength often wears the mask of weakness. As Susan watched the new graduates take their posts across the galaxy, she smiled. Humanity had given the stars a gift: peace through uncertainty, security through doubt. The day the galaxy learned why Earth's warships looked like cargo vessels was the day war itself began to die, and in its place, something better was born.